Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. So recently we headed across to the JCB factory on the ferry from Dublin. So we hopped on the Dublin to Holyhead ferry, the Stena Estrad, which is 3 hours and 15 minutes across over to Holyhead. Absolutely brilliant service, very, very smooth. Been a good while since we were on the boat, have to say. It's a great, great service. In a world where we seem to be obsessed with flights, the boat is certainly a great way to travel. Absolutely total luxury and bang on time too. So off we went, eventually got to the other side, and then we did a 150-mile drive once we got off the boat in Holyhead, through Wales, on through Chester and onto Uttoxeter, which is the original home of JCB. And Uttoxeter is actually the location where the original JCB shed is, where Mr. JCB actually created his first farm trailer. And very cleverly, what they have done at the factory is they have replaced this shed and built a replica of it as you enter the factory. So here we are, the factory is on our left hand side, the beautiful lake on our left, and as you head for the factory, it's surrounded by multiple different locations. The World Part Centre is there, along with a few other factories where they make the cabs for JCBs and also where they make engines. So we'll see the factory here on the left hand side, which is World Headquarters. So we're going to take this left where the factory tour is, and as we move around here to the left, we'll see the replica of the original shed that JCB was started in. It's here on the left hand side. There it is on the left. So there's a golf club, public park, very popular area for the locals. So as we move on, we head to the factory tour, and it's just up here on the right hand side. And as we get to it, we'll buzz our way through security, and in we go. We're greeted by one of the 75th anniversary machines, along with one of the latest JCB 3CXs. So we walk in through the archway under the two dipper arms, and we're greeted with JCB all over. So this is the official entrance hall of JCB World Centre, and here we're greeted with our two tour guides, along with a bust of Joseph Cyril Bamford, who started the business back in 1945, or Mr. JCB as they call him. This entrance hall is absolutely gorgeous. Swing around to our left, and we'll see the scale of the building. It is absolutely massive. And when you enter, you get a beautiful cup of tea out of a beautiful JCB cup. So the tour guide will greet you after you've had a cup of tea, and the first thing you do is you go straight into the JCB auditorium. So here there's a safety presentation, and this auditorium is used for product launches and major company announcements. Very, very impressive building. I can just imagine sitting here and they're launching a new machine. From there you walk outside and you're greeted with a boom of what I believe is a Project 12 3CX. That's one of the original Bamford family machines as well. We'll talk about that in a second. And as you're walking through into the factory, we'll also see one of the original backhoes from the Mark I machine, and on into the factory we go. An interesting one. He was in the army and he did work during the war, but he wasn't actually at battle. So his experience was mainly around, and his work was mainly around logistics in the army. So one of the interesting pieces of the history is that his first machine, the farm trailer, was actually made out of surplus war machines, so he must have known how to access those parts and those pieces. The machines that we're looking at now are actually machines which were created by another side of the Bamford family, who Joseph Cyril Bamford actually worked for a short period. And these guys created agricultural machinery, engines and agricultural implements. And this is the first part of the tour on the right hand side. Straight past the Bamford machinery on the right hand side then is the most important machine in the tour, which is the original Mark I JCB backhoe loader from 1953. So this is a Fordson Major tractor with the backhoe on the back and the front end loader on the front. And the story is that Mr. Bamford was in Norway on a holiday when he saw a tractor in the field with the backhoe on the back. And because he had already created the hydraulic loader and a number of other loaders, which he had called the load-all loader, he figured if he put the backhoe on the back and the front end loader on the front, then he would have a backhoe. And that's how he came up with the original rear mounted backhoe on the back of the Fordson Major tractor. So this is possibly the most important machine in the tour. Moving on, we can then see the next iteration, and this is the JCB 3. This is the first iteration of a backhoe loader sitting on a single chassis. And if we look closely, we can see that this machine is very, very similar to the modern machines, even though clearly the design of it and the shape of it is obviously dated. This is clearly where the design for the JCB 3C, the popular one, came through. We can see that the slew pots are on the back over the actual slew area rather than the bottom. The king post is sitting under the slew pots, whereas now they're all over. It's also got the side shift backhoe. It's got the bucket mountings at the very, very same. The general architecture of the machine is identical to the machines that we're still driving today. Hoses are absolutely identical. Even the ram structure is identical. This machine is very, very interesting to look at on the tour. If we move on, then we go to a 1977 JCB 3C3, which is, they stopped making them in 1981, I believe, so this is one of the last. This has got an extendable dipper arm, which is also reflects the fact that it's one of the later models. And it's sitting nicely up, so you can walk in and you can see under the entire machine. You can see all the joints, all the bushels, all the rams. And if we look around this way, then we can see right underneath the main frame, the chassis, the back axles, the very bad brakes that were on these machines, the gearbox, the front axle, and then right in under the front shovel. At the time, that front shovel was called a 4-in-1 bucket, and then they changed to a 6-in-1 bucket. You can see the original square lights, again, the hoses. So join us next time for part 2.